Hey everyone, and welcome to Logik Talks. My name is Blake Grubbs. I'm the head of marketing at Logik.io, and I'll be hosting Logik Talks to bring you interviews with experts in the quote-to-cash space, in sales, and in the digital commerce space as well, to hopefully share some of their expertise with you. Really excited to share all of this with you. Hope you enjoy. Okay, great. Well, today we're here with Matt Gorniak. Matt is the CEO of Threekit, 3D visualization and augmented reality company, helping companies sell their products more effectively through direct selling and online. Really excited to have Matt on. Matt is formerly led sales at CPQ pioneer Big Machines, led sales at another CPQ pioneer Steelbrick, led sales over at G2 Crowd, was running sales division over at Salesforce, and is now here in the Threekit on the Threekit team running that business. Really excited to have Matt on to share his expertise. Specifically today, we're going to be talking about B2B sales and B2B commerce in particular, and really drilling down into that. But really excited to have you, Matt. Why don't you just give us a quick overview of what Threekit does in your own words, and just give us that lowdown there.
No, thanks for the intro. I'm like, that's me? Wow. Anyway. Feels so formal. No, I love being here. Thanks for having me. Yeah, I mean, Threekit, the best way I can tell the story, it was really, since you give the intro, like my background has been for the last 20 years now, I guess, mostly in B2B. Now, we didn't know it, but it was B2B e-commerce. It was what's now called CPQ. And the reason I say we didn't know it, because back then, you kind of build stuff on the web and we didn't know that it's e-commerce. But anyway, but that's my background. And so just to give you kind of the bridge into Threekit, for the longest time, it's been sort of a mystery to us. And us as Goddard Abel, co-founder of all these companies and business partner of mine, also Chris Schutzes, who's the CEO here of Logik. And I don't know that we said it out loud, but certainly I think we've been wondering, it's like, at what point are customers going to demand to see the actual product? And let me be specific. It's a bit of a joke, but it's like, for so long, the world has been preoccupied, rightfully so, with the infrastructure bit, which is, again, kind of when you say like e-commerce, how does a company sell? It's been, and again, this is a bit of old news, but like, well, we need a shopping cart, we need a quoting solution. They're sort of separate, but we need this, we need, configurator, which by the way, still that need exists. But then really the product itself, this is about Threekit, it's part numbers, it's SKUs. So when you look at it, it was like, well, congratulations, we're able to like master that and take these part numbers, these SKUs, this bill of material, all these words, and kind of like not only like allow you to buy them, we can actually like orchestrate them, make sure they go to the right places. And it's not only the solution we worked on, but there's a whole cacophony of wonderful solutions, lots of investment. But then we're wondering at what point, and the time is now, is the answer, especially with COVID, is like, well, wait a minute, I want to see it, I want to experience it. So that's kind of not even the new frontier, that's kind of the next thing that people are investing in. So again, let me be specific in B2B, you're buying a compressor, you're buying a standby power generator, let's see, through a portal or from a rep directly, who's quoting it to you. And now you would like to experience it. What color? How big is it? Can I place it in my backyard? Can I place it in my factory? On and on and on. And so that is what we're betting on. And so when we met the founder of Threekit, Ben Houston, whose background was essentially Hollywood VFX, major supplier to Industrial Light and Magic, and he already had started down this path, the light bulb went off. Because truthfully, the one thing that we needed to unlock this, in addition to complex products and structures and scale, was kind of beauty. And so that's probably a long arc here, but that's the Threekit genesis. And we bet on this before COVID. With COVID, and we can talk about this in a minute, obviously, it's not even that demand's accelerated. Customers are expecting that now. We can double click into that. In B2B, by the way, I'm being very specific here. This isn't about consumer goods, although consumer goods is driving this. That's Threekit kind of. We can talk about a bit more, but that's the arc.
Yeah, that's great to understand kind of that full arc and the full genesis there. that leads into what kind of my next question was here, which is, B2C has clearly evolved super rapidly over the past year with COVID, right? And I think we've seen that throughout, all of B2C and e-commerce. So from your perspective, you said the time is now really for B2B. Why do you think in particular it's so important right now for B2B companies to be thinking about their digital commerce and online selling strategies, where so many of them for so many years have really been strictly on direct selling and channel selling and haven't really thought about this as a channel for their business?
Yeah. I mean, a couple things. I mean, for me, by the way, digital is not, it's about direct to consumer, but also existing channels. So, and let me explain. I think this has been going on for a while. I mean, this idea and lots of words used for this. Let's just stick with like easy to do business with. That's a big one, right? And so if anything, digital has been a differentiator to be easier to do business with. And especially as B2B products, I mean, they're, especially in markets where they're fairly known, right? Like there's certain products, certain brands. And I say that because majority of B2B products are fairly known. I'm not talking about the quote unquote startups. It's like you make forklifts, right? You make machines, you make compressors. A differentiator was digital. And so I think the unlock now is, it has been going on for a while, but COVID, the way I look at that is the following. This is the first time where physically a B2B buyer has literally, where they're sitting is the same chair as they're buying from a B2C provider, let's say Amazon, or they're buying a couch. And so when they have that experience, so what COVID did is you're sitting in the same chair, you're sitting in your home, right? And now you're basically going in and buying a couch. Let's just talk about that. It's a sectional. I can configure it. I can see it. It's very complex product, but it's also beautiful. I can zoom in. We call that digital feel. Like I can feel it. I can place it in my room. I very quickly get a sense of what it is, because I do want to know what I'm buying, right? There's a lot of uncertainty. In this case, it's a high value item and lots of considerations. And it's also complex to make. Like a sectional isn't, a glass of water, with just a picture. So they're experiencing this complexity. They're having fun with it. In their words, it's not easy to do business with. They're literally buying what they're looking for. And they sort of, let's just stop that analogy. They kind of transact there. They get it. And by the way, when you give people what they want, they buy more of it. They buy it faster. I'm taking jargon away because we get all hung up at it. It's like, hi, I'm looking for this. Oh, wow, I found it. I'm going to buy it. I'll buy more things like it. And I'm not going to return it. Why would I? This is what I want. But the reality is 99% of folks, and now it's the exact opposite of everything I just said, right? So the vendor, brand, manufacturer who provides me this, that's what I want. Now, back to the example, now I've just completed that. I swivel chair over, and now let's say I want to buy a forklift. So the experience ranges from nothing available to part numbers, to me kind of sifting through a portal and not knowing, and lots of uncertainty, and then saying, wait a minute, this was a complex consumer good item. How come you don't know? Now, I'm putting lots of this example, I mean, lots of dynamics, but let's say I'm indifferent to the provider and someone offers that easy experience. You know what? I'll buy that one, more certainty. So that's where we saw the trend already years ago in the making, but that COVID like swivel chair experience really accelerated that. And the reality is it's doable today. Customers are doing it, or brands. So it's not even the art of the possible. It's a wake up call. So.
Yeah, absolutely. And it makes a ton of sense. People are doing business and doing their personal life, right? All from the same chair, like you said. So it makes sense that people want to mirror those experiences. I think one thing that I've heard, at least from some skeptics of something like this, is, hey, well, these are much higher value purchases a lot of times, right? A forklift is different than a couch, for example, or a compressor is different than, the clothes that I'm buying online. Do you feel like, where the world is moving, like you said, and the time is now, that buyers are becoming more comfortable buying more complex and more expensive products through digital commerce, and that, visualization is helping them to get more comfortable with that?
For sure. No doubt about it. That is for sure happening. I think all of us have experienced this in our personal lives, which is purchases we've made online of items higher value than before. I mean, I can go through oodles of examples, myself included. So I think that, but I think with B2B, we have to also take one thing in account, which is it's not just about new purchases. It's about, let's say, channel. It's about conversion and speed. I'll give you an example. And this is about new sales, but also repeatable. Let's have fun with the forklift. Let's say I purchased that forklift from you. And two examples, it's me, the consumer, or I am the dealer. I want to buy an extra, I don't know, my steering wheel. Something's wrong with my steering wheel. I want to buy that part. Why is it so hard to buy it? How come I don't see my forklift? So I just click on, I know exactly what I want. So the visual unlocks that, which is, hi, here's my forklift, dealer or personal. This is the wheel. If you like it, click on it. Here's the part. And by the way, I don't even care about the part number. That's something that the brand invented. I don't know about that. Like, what do I care? So I just want to highlight that, yes, higher average sales online, but just repeatable consumption. Maybe that's a silly one. How about like wheels? The wheels that I bought with it are really consumables. Give me 5 of those while I'm at it. And by the way, here's where this goes further, Blake, visually. And by the way, not only do I see my forklift or compressor, I'm going to explode it out, exploding in a good way, like 3D. By the way, it's telling me that the bearing is running hot. Give me 2 of those as well. And again, if you juxtapose this to like current process, which is either you can't find anything, you have to call. I mean, no one does that anymore. Or here's a PDF with a bunch of part numbers, so you can figure out like what to do with that. So it's about, quick, repeatable, high margin business as far as the brand's concerned.
Yeah, it makes total sense. I think convenience and repeatability, like you said, is huge for businesses and for consumers. One of my last questions here for you is, I think from hearing what you're talking about, a lot of companies and a lot of people would say, yeah, we'd love to get to that experience, but we don't know how, right? There's a lot of, especially for some of these more legacy manufacturing type companies and B2B companies who have been around doing the same things for a long time. What are some of the technological challenges that you see those companies having to overcome to get to that point? And how do you see those companies doing so, both on the back end and the front end as well?
Yeah. And I think it starts with the understanding that, hey, this is real. I mean, if you look, and I think just one more data point, I mean, if you look at the investments made in the metaverse, and a lot of companies will be scratching their heads like, what's the metaverse? And just because, I mean, the starting point is, if there's no concept around it, there's a need to learn. But there's billions going into digital representation of products. So, and also I think that's number one. And some could look at this as a toy. It is not a toy. But the other one is also the way you present your product, a more factual way to sort of like tangible way is, the way to explain this to brands, just to kind of get it, is digital. If you look at this as the classic example of like shelves, right? You have digital shelves. And for most manufacturers, the shelves are literally empty. The reason I say that is, just to bring it home, most brands and manufacturers, and again, COVID exposed that, use digital as an adjunct to get people to engage with them, right? And it could be because that's the model, or because stuff is perceived to be too complex, whether the product structure itself, to visualize it. I just want to build the case a little bit. But the reality is, early adopters are moving into that. But but if you understand your shelf is empty because you're showing a picture of a product, a compressor, a forklift, but not everything that's available, your store is literally empty. You can make a bunch of stuff, but the world doesn't see it. It's almost like not being on Google Maps. I have a wonderful restaurant that no one will ever find. So that's, once that sets in, it's like, whoa, this is a big deal. With that awareness, folks can work with system integrators to really get a strategy around, or with us at Threekit, because we can help them understand how they can take existing information in the products, such as CAD. Most manufacturers have CAD, and leverage that into then what we would call visual commerce. So it's best I can do in one sentence, but we have actually built engines in our platform to help generate this at scale. And that's really what Threekit's all about. It's taking that information, allowing you to generate that experiences at scale with minimal effort. So that's literally our business, but it's difficult if you do it without automation. And I think that's the thing. It feels impossible without automation. We can help we crack that code, and that becomes a massive lever.
Yeah, makes perfect sense. And I think that whole idea of, digital transformation with your business is inevitable and moving towards this place for a lot of businesses. So great. Well, those are the questions I had for you today, Matt. Really appreciate your time. And thanks again for sharing what your expertise here on digital commerce and where you see it going in the future here. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Blake. Thanks for having me. Be good.